To the show, Ricky B.
How do?
With
How
his,
do?
his top 90s hit. What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Doing all right. I
You had
figured this week we'd start off with a bang and get right out of the gate with the elephant in the room of last episode. I figured let's just talk about it and get it out of the way. And
yeah,
move on
why
with our
not?
lives.
We're just gonna rip that band-aid right off.
All right. So for those of you that don't know, go back and watch episode 61 and you'll see what we're talking about after the 45-minute mark.
Yeah.
After 45-minute mark, my internet company went down, and we kept getting like spotty reception. But if you watch it, I didn't even see it. You told me about it. You said, "Did you watch the episode?" And I was pressed for time, and it goes to show you, if you try to cut corners, you're going to get burned.
That's
I was
right.
pressed for time for uploading it because I was going away, and so I uploaded it without watching it. Never do that again. So
But
I do
Tony,
watch it. What's that?
Go ahead. I'll tell you in a minute.
so I go back. Rick's like, watch it. I said, okay. So I go back and watch it. I'm like 45 minutes in. I'm like, what's wrong with it? It's fine. It's a good show. And then it happened. And then Rick was talking to me, and I was just frozen, sitting there, not moving. I didn't even notice I wasn't moving. I'm watching it. I'm going, am I not moving? Like, and then you kept talking, and you were like, oh, Tony's gone. And then we came back, and then you were pretending to freeze. So that was freaking me out. You stood there and didn't move.
I was like a deer in the headlights.
So that went on for about 5 or 6 minutes.
So I am now prepared.
So that went on for a good 5, 6, 7 minutes, maybe even 10.
I'm prepared if this ever happens again.
Okay. It's upside down. You got to flip it around. It's upside down. See, we can't even do that right. Oh, my God. There you go. We're experiencing technical difficulties. Go up a little higher. Please call. Oh, my God. That's fantastic. That is fantastic.
She's our scapegoat. She'll answer all questions and give you your refund.
The funny part about the episode, not only is it funny, because it's funny because we just Rick calls me on the phone and he's like, "What's going on? Are you okay?" This is all on video.
I know.
We decided to leave it. We said, you know what? Let's leave it. Who cares? It's fun. We're laughing at ourselves. Yeah. We have a large amount of views for that episode, so I guess acting like idiots makes people laugh.
So look at those goofballs.
Oh my goodness, it's so funny. So
it's too much.
Yeah. So I mean, all the people that follow us. Well, I shouldn't say all the people. Some of the people that are in a more professional level that follow us have always told me to, like, how's your podcast? I'm like, oh, it's good. Like, you know what? Just have fun with it. Have fun with it. John Rivers told me that. Before. He's like, just enjoy it, have fun with it. And we do have fun with it. I mean, I'm not going to pretend it didn't happen. Oh my God, take it down. Hurry. It's ruined us. It's hysterical. I think it's funny as hell. Go watch it if you haven't, because it is quite the scene.
Yeah. and Deb pointed out, because I'm like, oh, what do I do? So I'm pretending to freeze. She's like, but your eyes are blinking like crazy. Because I'm nervous.
It was so funny because you're like, when I disappeared, you're like, oh, Tony's gone. I guess I'll continue. Like you didn't know what to do.
And then after a while, I didn't even know that we were still on. I thought that maybe everything is shut down. So I'm just like, what's going on? I didn't even know I was on at that point. I'm like, oh boy.
Well, I didn't either. I didn't know. I mean, because we recorded the whole ending. Matter of fact, we recorded a show after that episode because we were going on vacation.
Right.
So we recorded a second part to that show. Yes. And we recorded a whole show. It was 50 minutes. And the show didn't take. There was only 3 minutes. There was barely the intro and then us talking. That was it. So I'm not sure what happened. I'm not techie enough to figure it out. But if you want a good laugh, watch it from the beginning, or just go to 45-minute mark and watch us be idiots from there.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
we went on
Well,
vacation. Rick went to North Carolina, and I went to New York City. Um, so we had to record some shows in advance, so we didn't have any
yes.
dead time there.
Right. Right.
But yeah, so vacation was good though. Your vacation was good.
Yes, it was very enjoyable. Some relaxation was definitely needed, and
Good.
one of the coolest things that we got to see was down in North Carolina. It was the small town called Beaufort
Okay.
outside Morehead City, and
Okay.
we're driving along, and it's known for their wild horses that are descendants of the old horses from the Spanish galleons that came over when they were
Oh
crossing
wow.
the Atlantic, and the ships had sank. Like what's the one we visited? Assateague Island in Maryland. They have them as
Okay.
well. They run the beach.
Oh wow.
Well, in Beaufort they have them, but it's more marshy area. Well, we're
Okay.
driving and Deb's like, "Oh my god, I see you. Is that a horse?" So we pull over, and like three or four come out, and we're just standing there watching. I mean, they were just across the water, so you could definitely make it out. I should send you pictures. So and
Very
then we
cool.
drove down a little bit further than five more. So there's nine horses. These wild horses, Mustangs
Wow.
or whatever, come out and they're like walking in the water, and then all of a sudden all these dolphins start jumping out of the water
Get
and they're
out.
playing. So we got dolphins jumping and there's wild horses. Like, oh
Oh
my
my
god,
God.
this is so cool. So it was
We'll
just
have to look into
very,
taking a trip there. Gina would love that.
yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. It was like Knights in Rodanthe, where in that movie, Richard Gere, they show the horses, the wild mustangs running down the beach. You know
Hmm.
that same. There's Chickateague and there's Assateague Island in Maryland. Beaufort has them, and there might be a couple of other places, but they're all descendants from these horses that swam ashore when these ships sank back in the 1800s. It's crazy,
And they're still around. That's
and
that's
they're
the
still
crazy part.
around. Yeah, it's amazing. It's
That's
breathtaking.
so cool.
Yeah. And how about
Very
you? How
cool.
was New York?
It was good, so I mean, obviously, I was born and raised there, so it wasn't like I saw anything new.
Right.
But my daughter wanted to go and do all the sites and stuff, so it was good. We had fun. Oddly enough, in the middle of Times Square, there is a Margaritaville now. That was not there the last time I was there. Well, I wasn't there in a
There
lot of
there
years. I haven't been
is.
there. Yeah, right in the
Oh
middle
my
of Times
God.
Square, up on the roof of one of the buildings. It's about as like you're in the middle of the city and there's Margaritaville, so it's kind of
Yeah,
bizarre.
right.
I
Yeah,
mean, I'm used to most of the Margaritavilles are on a beach or near a beach or at
right.
least something like that. But it was
Coastal
kind of cool.
locations. Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course when we got back, um, the show that we're tributing today, we got back on Thursday night, the 31st, and Friday morning, September 1st, I wake up to the news that Mr. Jimmy Buffett has passed. And yeah, so it was kind of crazy that at first I didn't believe it. I thought it was one of those stupid things like, I mean, because there was one about Sly one time and Sly died.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so I was like, let me check out some of the other news outlets first.
Right.
And then a very good friend of mine who's born and raised in Florida, who is a huge parrot head, who turned me on to a lot of his more obscure songs. He texted me. He's like, "Did you hear about JB?" I'm like, "Oh, it's got to be true then if all these people are
Yeah.
asking." So yeah, man, it was from what we read, he was battling that cancer for quite a few years, 4 or 5 years, and kind of
Never
kept
let
it up.
on.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him in 2015. Was the last concert I saw him in. So that's what, 8 years ago.
Hmm.
I mean, he probably had it then. I mean, I don't know, but
Right.
so we decided to do this tribute show to him on how much he meant to
Absolutely.
us, how much he gave to us as far as living the permanent vacation life, All the songs were so visually aesthetic with the sand, the beach, the flip flops, the salt water, the margaritas,
Oh
and
yeah.
all that stuff. So it's
He's the one who
forget
enticed us to live that dream
yeah,
because
exactly.
he showed us
Exactly.
that it was doable, you know.
It was, and the crazy story about that song was out for so long before it became like a lifestyle. I
Yeah.
mean, he wrote that song on the Florida Keys 7 Mile Bridge, and about exactly what it said. He was watching tourists, and he's hungover and sitting on his porch, and I mean, so it wasn't like he was creating the great American novel, but
Right. Right.
it related to the everyday man who worked Monday to Friday and wanted to get away for the weekend.
Right. I saw an interview where he was talking, I think it was Letterman, it's really old. And he was saying how part of the song was, he was walking home from the bar and he blew out his flip flop, he blew out his shoe, and he
Yeah,
stepped on a pop top, and he
yeah,
just started writing all this stuff down, and it's amazing. And here it is. It's a pastime. It's like, it's a
yeah. I
way of
mean,
life.
because of that song and Jimmy had the Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville Cafe in Key West, and that was around 80 or 82 that was opened. And it still wasn't even near what it is now. It was
No,
just it was around the corner from Captain Tony's and across from Sloppy Joe's.
right, right, right.
If you haven't been to either one of those in Key West, I highly recommend a visit to one of those two bars. Um, but
And he had said
it
that he
wasn't enough.
opened it. I heard he said that he opened it for the reason that in case his musical career failed, he'd have something to
Right?
fall back on.
Yeah. Hey,
you know,
it makes sense. You got to think about the what if.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
But yeah, it did not shoot off. Matter of fact, that was the only one until 1999 when they opened Orlando. The
Okay,
Orlando one, which this is a picture Rick sent in. And ironically enough, back in my bartending days, I worked 99 to about 03 or 04 at the Hard Rock Cafe across the street, across the lake from that Margaritaville. And Jimmy gave an opening concert there, and that was the first big one to test the waters. Like, will it work outside of Key West?
okay,
And then, as they say, the rest is history. Then next thing you know, the brand is up, and then now this brand there that you're looking at on the screen is on tequila and margarita mix and t-shirts. This is my Key West
yep.
t-shirt.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, it's hats and tumblers and
oh yeah.
everything, and it's hotels, casinos, cruise ships. I mean, it's everywhere. But he gave you that. This is what you thought of when you heard his music. You thought of having a drink in your hand. You got your sunglasses on.
Yep,
You're
yep.
just enjoying life. Another one of you and Deb. Let's see. Hold on. There's this one here.
That was the Margaritaville Syracuse, and which is just down the road from me. And
Uh,
I think I've said this story before, but when Destiny USA, when Syracuse first opened, um, there was like Toby Keith's restaurant and all these other restaurants, and I would email Margaritaville and Jimmy Buffett once a week saying, "You guys are missing the boat. You gotta open up a Margaritaville here in Syracuse." Now, I'm not saying I take the credit for it.
yeah,
There is one that
you might have sparked somebody's interest.
right. I said, "You
Who
guys are
knows?
missing the boat. You're letting Toby take all the money, man."
Right?
They're
Well,
still
I
there
might
to
have.
this
You never
day.
know. You never
You
know.
never know.
But
So,
I mean, it's just they're everywhere now. I mean, Gina and I have been to quite a few now. I did not go to the one in Times Square. Um, but Gina and I have been to Destin, Pensacola, Panama Beach, Hollywood, Florida, Key West, Orlando, Myrtle Beach,
Yes. Broadway on the beach, right?
Georgia. Yeah, Georgia. Georgia has Lanier Islands, I think it is. We went there. I don't know. I've probably been to about 12 or 13 of them.
Wow.
But the cool
How
part
about,
about it is like you just, what's that?
I was gonna say, how about the one in Tennessee? Pigeon Forge? Isn't there
Oh,
one in Pigeon?
yeah. I'm sorry. You're right. I've been to Pigeon Forge and I've been to Nashville on Broadway.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah. Forgot
So
about
you've
those
been,
too. But
yeah. I've been like Orlando, Syracuse, Atlantic Beach, Niagara Falls.
oh,
Um,
cool. Oh
and
yeah,
we,
Atlantic City, New Jersey. I've been to.
yeah, New Jersey. There's the Land Shark Landing right outside the casino
Yeah,
hotel,
yeah.
and beautiful, just beautiful. We just missed. There's a casino, Mohegan Sun, in
Mhm.
Connecticut.
Yeah.
They just closed the Margaritaville when we got there. We went down for a
Uh,
concert for something else, and they had just recently closed. So,
that
but those are
stinks.
the ones I've ever got to. But I always
Yeah,
told
but
Deb, I said, if you can plan your vacations around Margaritaville locations, you'll never have a bad time.
right.
Australia, I mean, come
No,
on.
well, that's the thing. When you walk in, no matter where you're walking in, you're transported. You're on the beach. You got the Buffett music. You got the tiki bar. The one in Orlando's got that like 8-foot blender behind the bar.
Yeah,
It's a lifestyle. It is. It's a lifestyle. I mean, here's a shot from when I saw him in 15. Well, he has no shoes on. He has shorts on,
yep,
t-shirt. No, he's the eternal beach bum.
yeah. Perfect way to put it.
But you
Absolutely.
do. You have a great time being in the hotel or being in the restaurant. Um, and it transports you back to where you want to be. It gets you like he always said, Margaritaville is a frame of mind. It's
Right.
a play, it's not a place, it's not a physical location. It's a frame of mind.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
can
if you
be
look at it like that, you know, what was that?
it can be anywhere. It can be my backyard,
Right,
you
exactly.
know.
Exactly. Which oddly enough, we have a picture of
Oh yeah,
Rick's
there it is.
Margaritaville in his backyard.
Yeah,
But look at that. Look how great that looks. How could you not have a relaxing good time there?
right. I
Look
mean,
at that. Let's get a close-up
it,
shot of that land shark woodwork there. Let's look at that. Look at that.
yeah, I made that with an old sign that was thrown, an old wooden sign, and a router.
Nice.
But yeah, the love
Excuse me.
the love runs deep
Well, it
for
looks
Jimmy,
fantastic.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, everybody knows the big hits. Obviously, everybody knows Margaritaville, and everybody knows, later on, 5 o'clock somewhere, and
Right,
the volcano song, stuff like that.
right.
But I'm telling you, like I said, my friend Doug, who turned me on to a lot more obscure music of his, and he was such an amazing songwriter
Oh,
that if you go listen to songs like "He Went to Paris"
yep,
or "On the Coast of Marseille,"
yep.
um, they're amazingly written songs. They're very visual. You could see the story playing out in your head as he's singing it. I mean, was he vocally the greatest singer in the world? No. He just sang a little tune, but he
Right.
he could write. He could write, man, and that was the key.
Oh yeah. And you and I talked about this previously we were talking about the traffic down in Florida, and
Mhm.
the bag of worms that it is,
Yep.
and he wrote a song called Migration about
Yep.
all the people coming down to Florida, and all the what do you call those? Like the double wides or the houses like
Yep.
that. They're
Yep.
like reminding them of beer cans that should be recycled. And I mean, the lyrics are so defined. It's like watching a movie to the music.
It
in
is.
your
It
own
is.
head.
It's
So
very
vivid.
visual.
Yes,
Very
it's
visual.
amazing. One of
I
my
mean, when
favorite
he's
songs,
singing
by the
it,
way, is Migration. Love it.
great song. I mean,
Yeah.
like you said, he could have so many songs that now living down here, of course, they take on a lot of different meaning because you're
Sure.
experiencing them a little bit more so than the average fan. Uh, but it doesn't mean any less to you, or it doesn't
No.
mean any. It doesn't hit home. I mean, things like "The Weather Is Here," "Wish You Were Beautiful," or
Yeah.
or "Trying to Reason with Hurricane Season." That's always one of my favorites, especially when hurricane season comes around.
Right, which you're in the midst
Yeah,
of.
yeah. We still got let's see here. We got 6 more weeks.
Yeah.
6 more weeks.
Fingers crossed that you make
Yeah.
it okay.
Well, you wind up buying the ingredients to make your hurricanes, and you
You have
put
your
on some
hurricane
Buffett.
parties.
Yeah, that's all. You ought to sit around. You got Jimmy blasting. You got flip flops on. You're making a hurricane and hope it blows by.
Yeah. And you're watching the sharks swim down the street.
Sharks. I mean, the Finn song. Obviously, everybody knows the Finn song.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
he had, and the funny part is that none of them were chart toppers.
No.
It wasn't like like if you name a song that was a chart, like Michael Jackson, Thriller or something, or Bee Gees, Staying Alive, or those are songs like they were chart
Right.
toppers. They
Right.
were at number one for weeks and weeks and weeks. He was not. He was. He was like the Bruce Springsteen of the folk music. He wasn't rock and
Right.
roll. He wasn't country. He wasn't folk. He was kind of a little bit of combination, but he had
Mm-hmm.
his following, the Parrot Heads,
Oh yeah.
just like Bruce does. Springsteen has had followers since the 70s, and like Buffett, he's never amassed. He did have a couple of chart toppers in the 80s when Born in the USA came out and stuff. But for the most part, his songs are just top 10, top,
Yeah.
20. The fans love this song more than that song. And that's the way Buffett is. But you go talk to Buffett. Now, don't get me wrong. Every parrot head in the world, when he hits the chords to Margaritaville in concert, place goes crazy.
Right.
We all, it's everybody jumps up and starts singing and dancing. But if you ask them their favorite song, it might not be on their list.
No, no. I was just thinking, I can think of 3 songs that were kind of nationally known, maybe.
Right.
Come Monday,
Mm-hmm.
Margaritaville,
Mm-hmm.
and the last one, which I was introduced at a very young age. Okay,
Yeah,
I
I have
remember.
a feeling I know what you're going to say.
I remember.
Since you prefaced it with how old you were.
Yeah, I remember going to the jukebox in the bowling alley where we used to bowl on Sunday mornings. We were little, right? We were in a bowling league, and I remember seeing the little. You remember the little tags that said the name of the song, and it
Right.
says, "Why don't we get drunk?" And there was a
Yep.
picture of a screw, and I'm young. I'm looking at this. I'm like,
Right.
what's that mean? So those, in my mind, those 3 songs are kind of like nationally,
But
other than
again, like I said,
Alan
there's so
Jackson and
even as silly as that is and as goofy it is, it's so visual.
yes,
That song, all of them, the Volcano, Cheeseburger in Paradise, which has a great
yep.
story about
Oh
Cheeseburger in
yeah,
Paradise. He wound up getting stranded at one of the islands that he was boating from, and they were talking about how they can't wait to get back because they just want a cheeseburger. They want a
yeah,
cheeseburger so bad. And they finally found an island that had cheeseburgers. And he's like, we have our cheeseburgers and we have paradise. And, and they write their song or he
right.
writes his song. But they did. They took on, like they're so visual. He had, I mean, even something as goofy as pencil thin mustache. He wants a Ricky Ricardo jacket. Now, when he says
Yeah,
that, everybody of our age knows what a Ricky Ricardo jacket looks like.
right. Yep.
Good stuff, though. Good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to transition eventually into another segment here, but we were talking about, songs that, Who's the Blonde Stranger?
Mhm.
I mean, again, it's just one of those songs that they're like, people who never heard it, like, what are you talking about? And it's just such a great song, you know. And
No, it is.
all the words and the lyrics you can sing along to,
You can.
which
You can sing along to them. And like I said, the biggest thing with me was the story that he was telling, whether it was a goofball story or a drunken story,
mhm,
you know, it- or- but the visuality of it was what got me. It was so visual and so clear. It was like a little 3-minute movie.
right.
I mean, he sang Cinco de Mayo in Memphis, which I always a little fondness too, since my birthday is Cinco de Mayo.
Okay.
Um, but you could see it, them dancing, on Beale Street and Cinco de Mayo. You could see exactly what he's singing about.
Right.
Yeah, well, like
Right.
Rick said, we have a little bit of a transitional thing we're doing with the show. We're going to have different segments. We're going to be a little more structured in what's going on with the show, as far as like the main chorus. We're going to do a little bit of a musical segment, maybe a trivia segment, and so forth, so on. So that'll be up and coming. We're not doing anything like revamping the whole thing. It's we're just
No.
breaking it down into a little bit of a structured show, like the Dean Martin Variety Hour or Carol Burnett or something along those lines. Johnny Carson. So for this one here, we're doing the musical segment. We thought we would talk about our maybe top 3 favorite Buffett songs. Um, you know, for whatever reason why, if you want to go into that. But I mean, you had already just said one of your favorites was the Why Don't We Get Drunk and Screw, which you could visualize that the bar's
Well, I'm
about to
not. That
close.
wasn't one. That wasn't one of my favorites. I just remember that's how I was actually introduced to Jimmy at a
Oh,
very
okay,
young age.
right.
I just bought a waterbed for me and you. Sorry, everybody, but it had to be
Sorry,
done.
Jimmy couldn't sing either. Jimmy couldn't sing either. Well, yeah. I mean, if you want to go first, or we could just bounce it back and forth. You tell
Yeah,
one,
I'll
I
go.
tell.
I'll do
Yeah.
my number one. I mean, we're gonna take away the hits. The Margaritaville, Bama Breeze, those. As
Yeah,
far as
yeah. Take away the big ones. I mean,
right.
Fins and Cheeseburger and Volcano and
Yeah.
5 o'clock somewhere, and which
Mine,
technically isn't even his song.
my number one favorite song, Barometer Soup. I
Oh,
I
great song.
I just love that song.
Great. That's a great song.
Yeah.
And what's so funny? It's so visual in the song, but it also has that Caribbean vibe to it.
Yes.
With the steel
Yeah.
drums. That's a great song. That's a
What
really good song.
is it Robert? What is I can't think of his last name. I was trying to look it up. Robert, who plays the steel. He is it the steel drums or the other one who plays the I can't even think of the name of the instrument. They're like it's like a drum, but it's not oh god, I can't think of the name of the instrument.
The steel drum, right? I mean, because he
Is it
had
a
steel
steel?
drum. Oh, a steel pan, maybe?
Maybe the steel
That's
pan,
a
or
little bit different than a steel drum.
it's like long like this, and it's got different, and he's
I
and
think,
then
yeah, that's Robert Green, I think, or something like
he's
that.
just
He was in the
I
Coral
couldn't
Reefer
find
band.
him. The Coral Reefer band. I couldn't find him his name, but he is just amazing.
I think it's Robert.
Amazing.
I think you're right. I think it is Robert.
Yeah. And
Robert
the Coral
Green.
Reefer band just stands alone with Nadir Shakur, I mean, and
Mac.
Mac. I'm just gonna back this up for just a second. I'm gonna derail us like I normally do. I saw Jimmy in Bethel probably about that 2015 area, somewhere in there. Did Mac McAnally, now that man can play a guitar. Okay.
Ooh.
Can he play a guitar or what? Did he do Little
Mhm.
Martha when you saw him? Did he play Little Martha?
I'm trying to think. I think he did.
Oh my
I think
God.
I don't know. I saw Jimmy I didn't see him a lot. I saw him maybe 4 times.
Okay.
But I think the last one, I think he did Little Martha.
And for those who don't know, Little Martha was what was the name of the was the Allman Brothers? I think it
Mhm.
was the Allman Brothers who did it originally.
Yeah, but he
And
covered that in quite a few concerts.
yes, and he grew up trying to play the song Little Martha. This is Mac McAnally telling the
Mhm.
story when Jimmy goes off stage to take a break. And he's like, he kept on asking, how come I can't get this? How come I can't get this? And he's asking all these people. And finally, this guitarist who was very well known says, well, that's two guitars, you dummy. That's two people playing two different guitars. But Mac, being Mac, went and he learned both parts, and he plays both parts on Little Martha. And I'm telling you, if you have the opportunity to listen to this song, it will blow your mind. It
Yeah.
gives me chills every time I hear it.
Yeah, like I
He's
said, I
amazing.
saw him do it. I just don't know if it was the last concert I saw them do it,
Okay.
because it was right. Jimmy did go off stage. Mac was telling a story,
Yes.
and then he did play it. But like,
Yes.
I don't know if it was 15 or earlier. I don't remember.
Yeah. I mean,
But
he
yeah,
did it in
that's
Bethel. So
what's that?
it's he did it when I saw him in Bethel, New York.
Mhm. Mhm.
It just completely blew my mind. And I have it on my playlist. Anyway, to
Yeah,
return back to where, sorry, I always do that.
you should give up apologizing by now. They know we do that. I mean, it is
Just
what it
expect it,
is.
folks.
Whether they like it or not, that's what we do. I mean,
Right.
sorry.
So what's
But
yours?
yeah, so you
What's yours?
again, like, taking out. I mean, Margaritaville always has a soft spot, of course. It's
Sure.
always going to be
Sure.
something that I love to hear. I love to sing and dance to. Um, but I think if the top three, I mean, I'd have to name. He Went to Paris is definitely up there. Um, it's just something about the whole storyline
Yep.
of the way he described that guy, and I like how he kind of incorporated himself in the song. And
Yes.
those of you that don't know the song, he went to Paris looking for answers to questions that bothered him so. And it's just so visual and it's a little bit heartbreaking, a little sad, and it's a great tune about life.
Yeah.
It's a
Absolutely.
great song
I
about life.
I gotta agree. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of the it's a slower, it's not a
Mhm.
Caribbean type feel song,
No,
but
no.
boy, it certainly paints a freaking picture that
Yeah.
you can. It's almost like a painting if you think
Hmm.
about it.
Hmm.
It's a brilliant song. Brilliant song.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. And of course, the iconic line that comes out of that song, which was so apropos after Jimmy died, was when he's talking about the old man. He's like, and if he likes you, he'll smile and say, some of it's magic and some of it's tragic, but I had a good life all the way.
That's right.
And you can't help but think that's the way he lived. I'm
Right.
sure he had some ups and downs, of course, like we all do, but he had a good life all the way. But I love that line. I love how the old man says it to him, because he even uses his name in the song. And he says, if he likes you, Jimmy, some of it's, and he just says it. That's just such a
Yeah.
great little scene of an older man passing on life.
Yeah.
But so what would be another one for
That-
your top
you know
three?
what? You know what, Tony? That kind of gives me some inspiration for a new tattoo. Some of it's magic, some of it's tragic, but it's been a good life
Yep.
all the way.
I mean, it's true. If you could say that, it's kind of like the beginning of My Way. Regrets,
Yeah,
I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention.
that's right.
And that's really what it is.
That's it.
Everybody has regrets. Anybody's going to lie that says they have no regrets, you're lying. You didn't even live life then.
Right.
But
Hey, if you're not having fun, what the hell's the point?
exactly. Well, supposedly, again, drifting off topic here from the musical segment, supposedly I read now his sister Lulu had a restaurant in Louisiana. And supposedly, was an article that she was talking about his last night before he passed. And everybody was kind of just with him and talking to him and crying and laughing and, just kind of being with him, knowing that, this is it. But they did ask her, did he say anything before he passed to you? Was there any like last words? And supposedly he told her, he said, just have fun. Now, I don't know if that's true. I doubt she would have said it if it wasn't true,
Right.
but You
But
know, that's
I had also heard that she is battling cancer as
oh, she
well.
is really
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it's the same, but I did
right.
read that she was battling at the same time he was, which, you know, I didn't know of it.
Yeah,
I did not
same,
know of it.
same.
So, and he
But
would
okay, I'm
never,
sorry. We'll get back on track now. Go ahead,
yeah.
Rick. What's your other song?
And yeah. Um, I would say my number two would be, oof, One Particular Harbor.
Oh, another good one.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Uh, I love it at the end. And it just, it makes me sad now. But he says, oh, I'm losing the words. But he says, he's talking about turning gray and getting older and fading away. But he says, but not yet. And
It's true.
all I can think of is, Jimmy, I'm so sorry, but it was time, you know,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
One
yeah.
Particular Harbor just sits in my heart. It just sits right here, you know. And that I remember, like you were saying, the morning when I got the text from my son who said Jimmy had passed. We were in North Carolina and I walked out into the living room and Deb was there and she just looked at me. She's like, "What's the matter?" She thought that it was like a family member with a look on my
Mhm.
face. I'm like, well, basically he is. He's been a part of my life for so long.
Yeah. See, that's the thing that's weird about it. And unless you have some type of connection to any, it could be a sports player, it could be a musical artist, whatever it is. If somebody's been there from when you were a young child to older, it's it hits differently. You know, I mean, we see celebrities pass all the time, and it's sad. And oh yeah, I used to love that movie. But there are certain ones that like when Burt Reynolds went, I was very upset. I mean, I had Burt from when I was a youngster. I was 10 years
Yeah.
old, 11 years old. Wanted a Trans Am when I grew up. Just so certain
They're
ones definitely hit home differently.
they're part of your life. They're part of your everyday being. I mean, it's like, you know, I don't I it's a family member that maybe you've never met or whatever, but
Hmm.
still it wouldn't feel any different. It's
No.
like if it were like Jimmy was that close to me because he's right
Hmm.
here, you know,
Yep.
he's
Yep.
right here and always will be. But anyway, you're number two.
Well, mine was a little more of a popular one. I mean, the He Went to Paris, I guess I wouldn't say it's not popular, but outside of the diehard fans, I don't think it's as well known. This one's a little bit more well known than the diehard fans, um, but but it's not a Margaritaville, but that's the Pirate Looks at 40.
Oh,
And
it's a
again,
classic.
another song that is like He Went to Paris because he's talking
Yes.
about how he's older, he's gone through life, and I don't know. It's just I like songs like that kind of give you that visualization of you're older now. Which my next song is another one that's like that, but you're older now and kind of experience more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I've
that is
always
such a great. I don't even know how. I mean, let's face it. Jimmy's songography, if that's a
mhm,
word, is like
mhm.
the Webster's dictionary.
I know,
It's
right?
like this thick.
Yeah, but when
You
you've been writing
know?
songs since the early '70s, to now. Actually, he had a song that was released right before he died with Paul McCartney, "Bubbles Up."
Yes, yes. I did
Did you
hear it.
hear it yet?
I did listen to it.
I mean, of course, he leaves us with that song.
Yeah.
Great song about life.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So what do we got for number 3 on your end?
I might have to go to 4 and 5 if it's not going to be a problem.
That's fine.
um.
We have time.
Okay. So I'm going to leave the last honorable mention. I'm going to throw in an honorable mention. His
Okay.
his last disc that he put out. Um, oh God, I'm now. Um, wow, where did my brain just go? I'm visualizing the picture of him standing on the beach, and he's actually got like a fedora on. Um,
Oh, songs of Singing Elsewhere.
yes, yes. What a great album that was, and there was
Mm-hmm.
quite a few tracks on there. Something about a boat. You know, I thought was a great honorable mention.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Yeah, well,
you
because think
know,
about it, he talks about the simplicity. So remember when he talks about the dog, something about my
yes,
dog.
something about my dog. Just
You know, when
smile.
you had a bad
Gives you that
day.
smile. Yeah, just gives you that smile. Smiles that smile. But so I guess number three would be the Wino and I know.
Oh, see, now only diehards know that one.
Yeah, you know,
There is no casual Jimmy Buffett fan that knows that song.
no, that's just to me. It kind of jumps. It's got a little bit of a rock feel. It's just I don't. It just catches me. I don't know what it just. I love that song.
That's
The
hey,
Wino and
that's
I
all
know.
that matters.
Yeah,
That's all that matters. Music. I mean, music's what when you write out music. I mean, it's just emotions. It's
yeah.
emotions and feelings and passion poured out on a page with a bunch of notes. And if you could visually see the song, you would see emotions. I mean, so yeah, that's well, and the emotions don't have to be sad or
No,
heartbreaking. It does. Everybody, that can be fun and happy and
and it is. It's
joyous.
a fun, happy song, and it just kind of moves along, and it just makes you feel good. It's a feel good song that you just like to sing along to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't. I just love it.
Great song. Well, mine one. I don't have any honorable mentions, so
Yeah.
I just figured I'd pick out three. And hold on a second. I'm sorry. My other one was The Oldest Surfer on the Beach, which was from the later
Oh,
album that he released. And
wasn't it the songs to St. Elsewhere?
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's the funny part about it. You just talked about that. And the funny part is that, he sees all the younger surfers. He talks about the foam on the water is gray,
Yeah.
like him, and, still catching a wave at his age. And, you may not be out there as long as you used to be, but you're still the oldest surfer on the beach. And I don't
Oh
know. I
yeah.
just, like I said, I guess being older and seeing where a lot of that can come from just hits differently now than the typical beach bar drinking song.
Right.
Well,
Well,
shows you how he writes more than that.
and if you think about it logically, it kind of makes sense with especially with you and I, you know, because growing up, it was Rocky, boom, boom, boom. Now at our age, Balboa is
Mm-hmm.
more to the
Yeah,
forefront than
yeah,
the others, right? Because it's just age, uh, whatever the word, relevant, I guess. In those songs, oldest surfer on the beach, and
right.
and
Well, that's like the one verse that he writes where he puts it in a metaphor for surfing, and the words he's saying is a metaphor for life. Where he says, "I stopped searching for perfection many waves ago. I'm only
yeah,
searching for the here and now." Like he's not talking about waves. He's talking about
no,
just life. I mean, he stopped searching for perfection. I'm just living for the here and now. Uh, you know, it's just it's so well written, so well put, especially like you said at our age.
and the cool thing is with almost all of his songs, they're so relatable because everything probably came from his life, some way, shape, or form, because that's what
Oh
you
yeah,
typically
of
write
course,
about.
yeah,
But you can relate to them. You have an imagery that you can see. Oh yeah, my uncle, the wino, or whatever,
right,
or that one particular harbor. You can go there in your mind. It may not
yep,
be Hawaii. It might not
yep.
be, Bora Bora, but it's somewhere and it's in your mind. That one particular, you know, I don't know. I mean, they're just
Good
Coconut
stuff.
Telegraph is
Good
another
stuff.
one.
Well, the good part about it is that we have his music forever. It's not going
Yes,
anywhere.
I
So
do have
every
to.
now
I
and then
do
you
have to,
make
Tony.
a couple.
I
Go ahead.
I do have to mention this, or else I will be grounded. Our wedding and our wedding song. So this is my number one song is Everlasting Moon from Jimmy
Nice. That's your
Buffett.
wedding song?
That was in our wedding.
Oh,
Yes.
cool.
Yes.
Very cool.
Obscure. Very obscure.
Yeah.
But boy, it's a good song.
Yeah.
So I had to get it in there.
Very cool. No, of
Yeah.
course. Of course. Well, like we were saying, we'll have his music forever. These here are, Gina and I went to Key West. We had margaritas, and make yourself some margaritas, put on some Jimmy, and get transported back to wherever he is. He'll always be with us.
That's right. Just
that's the good part about it.
Have fun, enjoy, have a land shark on me.
There you go.
Get it?
That's it. And on that, we'll wrap that up on that. We'll have a little Jimmy toast.
Jimmy.
Yep. And then we'll just leave him with that. As always, my pleasure. We'll see you around, Jimmy.
See you, Jimmy, on the other side.